What's up, everyone? You read the title, you know who it is. We're back with the rankings again for the new year, this time with Mr. Pretty Flacco himself, asaprocky. Early 2010s cloud rapper pushing the game in his lane. He hasn't released any new albums in quite some time, and that's totally okay, given the fact that this guy is a busy man working on his fashion, modeling, he's married to Rihanna, he has 2 children with her. So I'm not mad that his last studio album was almost 6 years ago now. He's still been pretty active with his features and even some singles sprinkled here and there, so I guess this video can be seen as a tribute to his work from the past decade, talking about how impactful it was and honestly still is to this day, but it also serves as a please drop asaprocky. I can beg. And just to preface, this ranked list isn't from an objective standpoint or anything. The placements of each song is based purely off of personal enjoyment, so with that said, let's get to it. Starting with dead last, we have Riot, Rowdy Pipin'. I mean, no disrespect to Pharrell, he is an incredibly talented producer who honestly I could make the argument is still underappreciated today, but the minimalistic approach to some of his beats in recent years has not been it in my opinion, with this one being no exception. This song is way too boring and the 808s are straight up obnoxious. I think Rocky is definitely alright on it, but you know, I'm not a fan of this one. Roll One Up has a pretty solid structure, but you know, that's about it. That's all I can compliment on it. Everything else about it leads to a really tiresome hook that gets old really fast. Pain. Part of Rocky's main appeal is his New York style iconic low-pitched voice present in a lot of his songs, which I love on everything else but Here. The repeated chorus on Here is what takes away from my excitement from otherwise a pretty laid back and spacey track. The verses aren't bad, but I do feel pain when listening to this considering the potential it could have had. Unrelated, but it also does remind me a lot of Bastard from Tyler the Creator. Acid Drip and Leaf aren't necessarily bad songs to me, but they're the equivalent of a poker face. Like, I get absolutely nothing out of him, so I simply skip. I'm done talking, what am I order coffee for? JD. This one is about the late actor James Dean from the 50s, with Rocky seeing himself through him. The song is a pretty short one, but unfortunately it does nothing with its runtime to catch my attention sonically. Trilla is calm. I mean, there's nothing so demanding about it, but it's cool to see the chemistry behind the other members of ASAP Mob. Bad Company is a decent collaboration with Blockboy JB, having it come out as a single right before testing that led me to believe this was going to be on the album. Even the cover art implies it, so I mean, I'm glad it was left out because it doesn't really fit the same sound, in my opinion. Multiply served as the kickoff to At Long Last ASAP's Flacco Jody era. The song itself is pretty basic, but offers a pretty braggadocious persona to our main MC here, setting the stage for another great album that was on the horizon. Angels is one of the few times where I actually feel lost on one of his songs. Usually I feel like I know what's up, like I don't know, I know what's up, but this one just feels like it's all over the place. Maybe it's the layered beat, maybe it's Rocky's performance, but you know, it's cool. Max B. This is a pretty aggressive song that's dedicated to the Harlem rapper of the same name who was sentenced to 75 years in jail. I mean, it's a pretty good song, but I find the cutaway to Joe Fox singing really jarring. Like, the lack of transition just throws off the whole song's rhythm. I mean, thankfully it only happens a few times, but I've never been a fan of those specific parts in the song. Get Lit I like. It's pretty trippy, but it can also get annoying at times. Better Things. Man, this guy just likes to puff on some Zaza, you know what I'm saying? Like, Farside utilizes Joe Fox in a much better way than a couple placements back on, was it Max B? Incorporating his voice into the theme of having a challenging upbringing, so I like this one a lot. Same Problems is a pretty sad song discussing the lack of apparent solutions to this continuous pattern of gun violence many people, including close friends of his, suffered from. He dedicated this to people like Biggie, Juice WRLD, and of course Takeoff from the Migos. I like Miguel's contribution, but at a certain point I feel as though it can get kind of overplayed, and honestly I could have done without Lil Yachty's appearance on the song, like his little intro or short presence. I don't know, I could have done without it. Phoenix is a self-reflection of himself, his character, and his career. Sonically, it's a slow burner, but that's because of the cover matter he's talking about. I think it's pretty serious, but I don't know, I don't come back to this one a lot. I like the piano on Dream's interlude. I feel like this would actually play like legitimately in the background of an actual dream for real that I'm having.
These days are preference.
West Side Highway. Honestly, now that I think about it, I feel like a lot of these At Long Last ASAP songs could go pretty well in the background of a dream.
All my role models either dead or in the pen.
Okay, having gone this high without mentioning a single song on testing until now should give you a hint as to how much I like the album. With Black Tux White Collar here as its weakest point on it, in my opinion. It's kind of like its Achilles heel.
I gotta conquer everything in front of me.
Fine Wine has some pretty great features. I like how it picks up a little bit towards the second half with Future. I mean, you know, he kind of pops off a little bit.
A rebel to my depth is in my flesh.
I Smoked Away My Brain, I'm God, Demons mashup. What a name.
Barely ever took a break on fashion.
F Sleep. This is unfortunately me most nights because, you know, unfortunately I'm a college student studying computer science, so it is what it is.
Been on these bricks and for your fix, so call me Toad.
Bass. Man, this song is clickbait. I get no bass. At least the bass I'm used to.
For the weekend, you myself and I, my three.
Wild for the Night brings up the most random collaboration with Skrillex. I mean, it is so fire, it is so fun, but it's also so 2013 dubstep era, making it not the most well-aged song of all time.
Stuck up in my zone all by my lonesome.
I don't even, 100, yeah, I mean, just 100, how do you even say that name? 100 is really chill, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not a professional at dissecting songs, clearly, but I mean, this is the type of vibe I like.
They try to intellect with indirection.
Demons. I mean, this was one half of that mashup a few placements back with that whack name. I'm so glad this mixtape was put on streaming services for its 10th year anniversary. I had to resort to Dat Piff whenever I wanted to listen to this one. Alright, just breaking into the top 50 placements, we have Call Drops. This one has Rocky really letting his variety shine through as he explores a really sad and mellowed out setting. Kodak doesn't really do anything to push the song forward by any means, but the automated voice message system at the end was kind of cool.
Canal Street, vintage gold medallion, smoking blunt.
Canal Street has a more somber sound with that typical piano balancing both some great verses and overall cadence.
Bang 'em with the stainless steel.
Jody's beat is played in like slow motion with like this sample. The sample of a guy yelling in agonizing pain on repeat. It's both, I mean, to me it's funny. I don't think it's supposed to be, but it's also really cool. Suddenly delves into the immediate transition of fame Rocky endured and how that played a role in his life, discussing both the good and bad that came with it. Just being famous all of a sudden. I don't know how that's like, you know what I'm saying?
Music for the villains, sophisticated.
Keep It G is like JID's Hotbox's older and more experienced grandpa.
I feel the bass.
Distorted Records goes crazy. It doesn't really set the tone for the album because the album sound is splattered all over the wall with no cohesive pattern, but it is a fire intro though. I understand Peso's significance and how much weight this single song carries on its shoulders. It really helped kick Rocky's career forth, and not only that, but got everyone on the block excited for this new wave of cloud rap that was about to shift tectonic plates in the music world for the next decade. And although I do like this song, I just like his other ones more. So if this was an objective list, yes, I would have it much higher, definitely top 10, but subjectively, I mean, I just find more thorough enjoyment in his other songs, including Brother Man. French Montana has always been an enigma to me. I've always heard his name be thrown around for a while, but I'll be lying if I said I only know his one song, Unforgettable, and that's it. He's cool on here too, but I'm more infatuated with Frank Ocean and Snoop Dogg's parts. They stand out to me more, pause. Now Guns and Butter has that bass I'm looking for. LSD is a thematic track that is, I mean, clearly meant to be experienced faded, but I don't find myself in many scenarios where I'd be bumping this on the regular, you know? It's a good song, don't get me wrong, but it's not a classic go-to for me.
Tell him who's daddy, tell him that.
Kids Turned Out Fine takes a more lenient approach and advocates for the less disciplined way of raising one's children by letting them do whatever they want because in the end, you know, they'll be all right. I mean, while I wish this was true in a perfect world, it still makes for a good song. Brand New Guy. I love the chorus on this one. It is so contagious. Schoolboy Q's feature is pretty fun too. This one is one of many, and I've always liked his dynamic with Rocky. Ghetto Symphony. Revisiting this album for this video was such a nice treat because I forgot how underrated some of these songs are.
Call me FLACKO and don't play no.
Babushka Boy is one of his many upbeat and fast-paced singles he's put out in recent memory. The rapping, the instrumental, what sounds like a police siren wailing in the back, everything builds up to make this absolute banger of a song. And speaking of an absolute banger of a song, we have Lord Pretty Flocko Jody 2. Short but sweet, it does a lot with its duration it's given, with this constant synth guiding the track's rhythm.
Yeah, I feel rihanna and I understand how.
Out of This World is, you guessed it, pretty good.
Really ready for me when I
Buckshots. He says Fortnite in this one. I thought to include Aria here because it's entirely Rocky on the song besides Nigo with his contribution. Electric Body. Another ASAP Rocky and Schoolboy Q banger. They just keep getting better. Houston Old Head has such an infectious instrumental. I just want to take a bite out of this song.
Leave it all in the past now. Walls looking back now. Back to the wall.
Sandman. Believe it or not, can't believe I'm saying this, a snippet of this song was sold as an NFT.
Posted on the corner like a trapper.
OG Bieber is so weird. I love it. With the little reversed beat and random ad-libs thrown out from all over the place from an assortment of different people here and there makes for a really good time.
The most highs around cocktails, guys and gals.
Holy Ghost is a fabulous cut with some killer drums, guitar, and singing. From front to back, this one's great.
I give you open my blinds on you and that's worth of my mom.
ASAP Forever Remix has always been a favorite of mine. I think from the moment I heard it till now, I've always been infatuated with the beat. The fact that it's constantly repeating ASAP, ASAP, ASAP is so fun to me, and the features are incredible too. I know in my Travis video, I expressed my, I don't want to say dislike, but rather my opposition to Kid Cudi's music, and while that opinion still stands to this day, it's still the case, I do like his presence on this song. I have nothing against the guy, but artistically, I just can't get behind him. We'll see if there's a day in the future where that'll change, but besides that, ASAP Forever Remix is great. At first glance, Tony Tone can be a relatively grating song and a bit of an ear sore sonically, but when you decide to open your eyes or ears, you realize that it's actually so hard and one of his best reaches.
Get money is what I do.
Wavy Bone is something I listen to when I want to motivate myself to get that bread.
We gonna take it uptown.
Back Home is a beautiful send-off to both the conclusion of the album, but also the recent asapyams, one of Rocky's best friends and collaborators who passed away right before the release of this record. So, I mean, he's the reason why Rocky has that birthmark under his eye on the album cover. I also love Mos Def's feature. I like how Rocky introduces himself as Pretty Flocko Sr. I think that's hilarious. Sundress is way more popular than I initially thought it was. I'm over here thinking it's underrated, but it's actually one of his most popular and relevant songs he's put out to date, and I'm really glad it is. It's a short, yet colorful and romantic song we don't get to hear a lot about from Rocky. Poopin' Me is another banger he's put out teasing new music, yet no new album. What are you doing, Mr. ASAP? And here, we have the pinnacle of Rocky and Schoolboy Q collaborators. PMW, All I Really Need. I mean, besides my Bible, all I really need is that new ASAP Rocky album, but he's too, busy being a father with his two beautiful baby boys. I get it. Hell. Santia Gold's singing is always so catchy. Similar to that of Drake's Unstoppable, she always has it out to make herself known on these songs and does a great job at it. DMB, that's my beautiful wife. This is a clear tribute to his wife. You may have heard of her. She makes music too. Her name's Rihanna. This song is just a little shout out to his boo.
I said it must be.
Goldie is an oldie now, but still goes just as hard as when it came out.
On that biscuit till I'm no longer exist.
Is Long Live ASAP his best intro song to an album? Good question. And to that, I rebuttal with
I imported stone cold drug.
Palace. Nah, this is.
The rappers I've been feeding on, got a feeling that's the same.
Effin' Problems is so good. Rocky was in his bag this year, releasing this unreal 4-run track list back to back to back to back over here. Anyways, everyone on here did their thing. Drake, 2 Chainz. Okay, wait, I will throw my typical hot take out there as I usually do. I think this is Kendrick's worst feature verse he has out there. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. It's still good. I'm saying everyone did their thing. But for Kendrick, he's just done so much better before this and since then. Everything about Jukebox Joints is great. The two halves are done so well together. Both melodies are fire, and Rocky really outshines himself on this one. I Come Apart has some amazing singing from Florence Welch, the singer of The Dog Days Are Over, if you're a fan of that new Guardians of the Galaxy 3 movie. I mean, she did great on here. This is one of the main reasons why I love this album as much as I do.
Text a message, I don't know the number.
Praise the Lord to Shine. I mean, you already know this one. I don't have to introduce it to you. It's easily his most commercial and accessible song by far. It's great. I love the flute beat.
Every day I spend my time.
Rocky managed to somehow get Rod Stewart on this one and not only simply be featured, but absolutely kill it with such an amazing presence. We just mentioned Praise the Lord. You want to talk catchy hooks? Here's your guy. Alright guys, just squeezing into the top 10 here, we got Purple Swag, the shortest song he's put out in his career, which, I mean, is why it's got a remix that could also substitute for this placement right here. But sometimes little is more, and this is definitely more. A little love letter to some lean, which, I mean, I don't condone because you'll be subjected to saying the word swag again, but hey, to each their own. And what other better song to pair that one up with than his longest song to date, One Train? I already made an entire video dedicated to this song with some buddies of mine. If you haven't checked that one out yet, which you definitely should, we ranked all the verses on here from worst to best because there sure are a lot. One of the most infamous posse songs in rap history, and I still stand by Danny Brown having the best feature on here. What's Up really captures that pure cloud rap sound. Behind all the clothes and headlines, Rocky is really a talented rapper, and it truly shows on here. This one is fantastic. And speaking of fantastic, M's is an outstanding collaboration with Lil Wayne, with both of them flexing their money like there's no tomorrow. This was another single hyping up At Long Last ASAP, and what a song to get people ready. Kissin' Pink is easily my favorite song on Live Love ASAP. It feels like I'm flying listening to this one. It's so mesmerizing, and I've personally attached it to some pretty great memories in the past, so subjective or not, I love this song with a passion. And I'm very highly disappointed he decided to throw it on the cutting board with the mixtape's re-release, so it's not on streaming services anymore. Your boy had to resort to YouTube of all places to listen to this joint. The tragedy. Changes feels as nostalgic as it sounds, with a lot to digest on it. But if you're also a human who has grown considerably since your childhood, then you can also relate to this song too, so I don't have to get into it. You already know what's up. Level is like a better version of Sandman. While Sandman is still a great revisit to his older days, as it was made for the new 10-year anniversary release for streaming services, Level really captures that through Clams Casino's amazing production. Every time him and Rocky are on a song together, it's like they're reinventing the discovery of fire. Level is heavily overlooked by many, so give this one a listen.
I believe the proper terms excuse you.
Excuse Me for the number 3 spot is just my favorite song on At Long Last ASAP. Fashion Killa. This song, along with the music video, is like foreshadowing. It's crazy to see how long him and Rihanna have been an item, and I'm so glad to see that they're still together considering how every other celebrity's relationships turned out. But all jokes aside, this song is amazing and arguably his most addicting one to listen to. Okay, and for the number 1 spot on this list, what's my favorite ASAP Rocky song? You already know I have to do this cheesy build-up real quick. It is... Purity. This song is so beautiful and is honestly up there for one of my favorites ever. And yes, I have fallen victim to sitting in my bed for too long late at night by myself, staring up at the ceiling and thinking a little too much about life coincidentally while this song is playing, so now I'm crying. But it's all good because, like I said, this song is beautiful. Maybe the tears had something to do with Frank Ocean's feature on here, but yes, I cried to an ASAP Rocky song. And for that, it deserves the number 1 spot up here because it's so good. And that is my ranked list of every ASAP Rocky song to date. Hopefully he releases some more new music and immediately make this video outdated. That is the best case scenario, but who knows? And if you enjoyed this video and disagreed with almost all of my takes, then make sure to subscribe for more content like this. I'm just some guy sharing my opinion on the internet, so there's for sure more new content on the way. And make sure to comment some recommendations for new artists I can do. I love listening to music, as you can clearly tell, so keep them coming. But that's about it for me. I'll see you all in the next one. See ya.